This way, come this way, come this way, come this way.
show. How you press pass out. How you doing? Gotcha. Right here. That's why I was asking. To make sure. She's talking with the NYPD guys, so that's why I was making sure. Yeah, I know who he is. He hasn't been around today?
I understand.
Oh.
And actually, I have a copy of the court order on that. He's banned for a year. Yeah, not to trial for a year. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, we're on to the last one. That's a 40-hour time. Yeah. No, well, the state originally had it. The states, yeah, that's why the state did. They didn't drop the charges, but they're not pursuing everything.
only wear archaic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excited.
Yeah, he went to.
Oh yeah, I realized the first one.
I mean, we all know.
Some days are better than others, right?
Oh, yeah. Most of the time, we get the bad. Yeah, exactly. There's days of bad variations.
90% good days.
Yep.
Yeah. This is the one you have to actually work. The other days is probably that's why they're like, oh,
Which they game last night.
which one? I went to sleep like at halftime.
They went to overtime.
I saw that. They got another block at 8:22. I woke up and saw the front of the baseball game.
I was kind of surprised. I didn't see like my phone. When I didn't see that, I was like, oh, that's the murder.
The kid pitched really good. He was blowing down the Red Sox. I saw the fifth inning. He had like 10 straight.
Oh, you said CBS?
Wow, no. We didn't really organize it. Yeah, you would think that, yeah. Should be.
That's usually what you guys do when you have a couple people like this.
Yeah.
Split it up.
You know what? This morning was chaos.
I would try, but it's too big. I would give it my best try. Probably get beat up.
I would think so by 5. You know, realizing he has a lot to do.
Yeah, so just do it.
Yeah,
Just push it to the weekend.
yeah.
just came out a couple minutes ago. So.
Yeah, she comes in and out. Dollar Mile stays in. Dollar Mile.
What's up? Nope, no questions today. Sorry. All out. We're at our quota. Yeah. Right in the glass doors over there. Why? You think this is the line for that? Uh-oh.
Right in.
Glass doors.
Well, you know what though? That's the type of person that you want to help. Not aggressive to go in.
No, I'm saying, but the line doesn't move an hour, like, give me something. Even if it's a long line, it shouldn't live slowly. The whole family came in today? Kids came in?
So,
I don't believe so, no. I believe they know what, what have to do with, like, Diddy, I mean, not Diddy, Biggie.
Right,
Biggie and them are all, like, looped into one. I think they have ideas of who did it, but I don't think they're pretty solid.
my son next week.
Fight. Get.
That's probably in the negotiation time.
Absolutely.
Maybe this amount of time.
Fight.
Yeah. What do you go? Having fun?
Yeah, tons of it. I don't understand why that dude's trusting us.
When you do, let me know.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so we're here live at the Diddy sentencing. It is still going on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read Inner City Press's tweets that he has put out. So here we go. As Combs' lawyers mill around, he has still not been brought out. A U.S. Marshal brings out a big chef of papers and a red book, picks up the chair to search underneath. All clear. Combs' lawyer Mark Agnifilio and Brian Steele are talking low next to the lectern. Alexandra Shapiro stands with Nicole Westmoreland. The prosecutors are seated at the front table, minus one, Maureen Comey. Judge's clerk, are we ready to proceed? Was that Mr. Donaldson who just went back into the holding his soul? Yes. Now waiting on Combs to be brought out. John Combs is brought in a white shirt. He puts his papers under the table, leans back and blows a kiss to the gallery. His mother. Brian still standing next to him, whispering in his ear. All rise. The U.S. versus Sean Combs. The judge. Do we have the signed order for forfeiture? Yes. I'm handing it up. Judge. First I'll go over that I have received in the pre-sentencing reports. I'll hear from the parties. I received the defense's reply memo of October the 2nd and the letter from Mr. Combs and the video the defense plans to play here in the court. I appreciate the letters. I received the government's letters from Ms. Ventura and others, and I appreciate them. Alexandra. Combs' lawyer, Alexandra. We're going to submit a course of evaluations from MDC. AUSA Salvik says, we don't have a copy. The judge says, please give her one. ASU Slavic. Mia no longer wishes to address the court here today, in part due to the letter submitted by the defense, bullying. We think the defense letter violated Your Honor's rules. The judge. I thought the tone was inappropriate and it should not happen again. Anyone beyond Mr. Combs? Still, the Reverend and Mr. Combs' children will come up and stand together. Still, also Giovanni from the program. Judge, Mr. Slavic. ASU Slavic says Rule 32 only applies to the parties and the victims. The court is within its right to exclude character witnesses. 940F 3D 167. Judge Furman has used this to limit defense witnesses. The judge. But I can allow them, correct? As I overrule the defense wanting to exclude Mia. ASU Slavic says, within your discretion. The judge says, Mr. Steele, okay, for the children and Dr. Johnson. Steele says, Reverend Doctor, Judge, I'll think about the others. The judge says, now as to the objections, the defense says acquitted conduct cannot be considered. There is no guidance from any court on this. We don't know what the jury was thinking, but it's about overlapping conduct, and it only impacts the advisory guidelines range. The judge says acquitted conduct can be considered. See U.S. versus Vaughn, 2D Circuit, in other cases. Even matters that cannot be considered for the guidance can be considered under 3553. Now, the U.S. objections. They argue for the criminal sexual abuse guideline. The judge says there is little precedence on what type of threat is required, but bodily harm makes most sense. Concrete harms. To force Jane and Miss Ventura to engage in sex act. Does this conduct establish a convicted conduct? There was the flight from Keynes. Did that meet the requirements of bodily harm threat? There was evidence of that in the case with respect to the hotel nights and freak-offs. But in light of the constitutional questions raised, the court declines to apply the cross-reference. Since I can consider it under 3553, it does not impact the sentence. Next, Mr. Combs' marking of past as legal, that was troubling, but the intention is not clear. The government could have pushed to clarify it, so I will not apply the enhancement. The government objections to probation not considering Jane and Miss Ventura as vulnerable victims. I overruled this. What made Combs' coercion effective was their condition. Anyway, the court would reach the same conclusion. Now, Mr. Combs' objections. Mr. Combs objects to characterizing Miss Ventura and Jane as victims. That is overruled. Mr. Combs also objects to the escorts were characterized as victims. That is also overruled. They were transported for the purpose of engaging in commercial sex. There was Jules and Paul and Gabriel, Julius, Reggie, and Rico. As to coercion, when something is voluntary, it is uncompelled. That is from Black's Law Dictionary. It's a broad concept. The threat to release videos into Jane's home, that's coercion. Mr. Combs said he was paying for time, not sex. That is contradicted by reality. He has not expressed remorse for transporting people for prostitution. Combs has challenged his guilty full-throatedly, including after trial. Mr. Combs wants to apply the 0-point offender provision from 2023 but 2024 in all other issues. That is not possible. Under 2D circuits, one book rule. Next, Mr. Combs objects to the $5,000 assessment under the statute because there is no victims denied. I have the forfeiture order. Is this your sign? Is this your signature, Mr. Combs? Mr. Combs says, yes, sir. The judge, Mr. Steele, did you review it? Tini Garrigo says, I did, Judge. I incorporate the order into the judgment in this case. The judge says all remaining objections are overruled. Attorney Garrigo says, although you say some points don't impact your sentence, it might impact his eligibility for low categorization if you impose an incarcerated sentence. Sorry, hold on. He just made me lost my place. It might impact the eligibility for low categorization if you impose an incarcerated sentence. Judge, we can address that. Here it goes, if necessary. Mr. Shapiro says, I like to make some more points. We briefed extensively. Judge, 380 pages. Shapiro, we raised due process, the fairness concerns set forth by Justice Sotomayor. We believe merely for our interpretation and preclude the court under 3553. I wanted to preserve this for appeal should there be an appeal of your sentence. The judge says it is preserved. The PSR says the offense level is 27. I agree with that. The criminal history category is 1. That leads to a guideline of 70 to 87 months. Judge, I'll hear from the government. ASU Slavic says, I'd like to respond after the defense as well. Today is about accountability and justice. For 15 years, the victim lived. The victims' lives have been shattered by abuse and exploitation. This is not just a case about freak-offs in hotel rooms. This is about victims' heart, about a man who did horrible things to other people. His currency was control. He weaponized it. All of 3553 factory point to at least 135 months. The defense accused us of seeking 135 months so that the court splits the difference. We think probation recommendations of 60 months does not account sufficiently for the harm to Cassie and Jane. The defendant tries to argue this is just a sex, drug, and rock and roll lifestyle, but this is a case about transportation for prostitution and violence. The defendant admitted to the violence as trial. The defendant's respect for the law is lip service. Mr. Combs was booked speaking engagement. Mr. Combs has booked speaking engagements for Miami for next week. That is the height of hubris. He did this for 15 years. He was responsible for transporting many escorts. That's a lot of freak-offs and a lot of hotel nights. He knew it was illegal, even in cases that declined to apply the cross-reference. Significant sentences are handed down, including in this district. Consider U.S. versus Dillian Jordan. The judge says, in Jordan, the defendant had been convicted and imprisoned in Cuba in the years prior. Am I correct? And that's why the judge varied upwards. AUSA Slavic says, that is correct, as well as other factors. The judge says, so there is a distinguishing feature. AUSA Slavic says, there's also a case by Judge Kimber Wood, men at cases with fear, violence, and threats routinely get significant sentences. This is not a simple transportation case, but it has major aggravators. As to Cassie, he hit her and stomped on her. The video from the LA hotel was played many times at trial, and it never got easier. As to Jane, he punched her, he slapped her a little over a year ago. when he knew he was under federal investigation. At trial, they said they owned the violence. And that was 4 minutes ago. All right, guys, we'll just continue to read the tweets when they come in. Yeah. Did you hear that part about how Diddy has already booked some speaking engagements in Miami? That's crazy.
Good afternoon. This is AP News live stream of the Sean Diddy Combs sentencing. I'm Julie Walker, and we're here right across the street from the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan, where Sean Diddy Combs is awaiting his sentencing. The 55-year-old music mogul is set to find out how much time he will be sentenced to for the prostitution-related charges he was found guilty of back in July. Combs was acquitted of the more serious charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. That's the RICO Act. He was found guilty on 2 counts of the Mann Act. Prosecutors want the judge to send him away for 11 years. Combs and his lawyers basically want time served. He's been behind bars at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn for about 13 months. Now, prosecutors are blasting Combs for, according to them, booking some speaking engagements in Miami next week, apparently assuming he'd be free to do it, saying that is the height of hubris. The prosecution's recommended 11-year, 3-month sentence reflects the conduct appropriately consistent with other similarly situated defendants and fully respects the jury's verdict. That is what the prosecution is saying. Now, Combs was not, as I said, Combs was convicted of the Mann Act, but he was not convicted of sex trafficking and of racketeering, which he was charged with. Those are the 2 charges that would have carried the maximum sentence of life in prison. As it is, the Mann Act, which is a prostitution-related charge, carries a 10-year sentence in prison. Again, prosecutors want him to be there for 11 years. His lawyers want him out seemingly immediately. He's served 13 months so far. Now, Combs is set to address the court. In a letter to the judge yesterday, he said that he's a changed man. He's a reformed man. He feels like the time he spent at the Metropolitan Detention Center was enough time to change him, to make him a better person. He says in the letter that he knows saying, "I'm sorry," is not enough, but he says he is sorry. Now, Cassie, the prosecution's star witness and Combs' former girlfriend, sent her own letter to the judge saying that he should get the maximum sentence, saying that he's not a changed man, saying that she doesn't believe him, and that when she said that she was assaulted, no one believed her, and he denied it until that infamous video came out of Combs beating up Cassie in the hotel hallway. Several other people have written letters to the judge, members of Combs' family. His mother, she's 84. She says, yes, my son has flaws, but he deserves to be out of jail and spend the rest of his time with her and with his 7 children. 6 of those children are in court now. They are teens and adults. The youngest, who's not there, is a 2-year-old. Those teens and adult children of Combs also wrote letters to the judge, pleading with him to let their father out, saying that he is a good man and he is a good father, and they want to spend time with him. And in Combs' own letter to the judge, which was 4 pages long, he talked about how he missed his children, how he missed important events with them, taking one to college, graduation, other events that he missed that were family time. And again, saying that he's changed, that one of the things that happened to him while he was in jail was that he was able to get off of drugs and able to get off of alcohol. He says he's been drug and alcohol free for 13 months, even though those things can be found in jail at times because they're smuggled in. He says he's not doing any drugs or any alcohol. He also told the judge in his letter that he believes that he will never be back in criminal court again, that he is leaving those ways behind him. He said he was appalled by the things that he had done, and again apologized for them. Now, one of the people who was set to speak today is no longer speaking. That's a former assistant, and she testified under the pseudonym Mia. And she had said that she's no longer speaking because prosecutors say she's no longer speaking because she felt intimidated by the defense after they wrote a letter to the judge. Now, the people who are speaking or who are supposed to speak are his children and two doctors who treated Combs and Combs himself. The trial took 6 weeks, just a little over 6 weeks, actually almost 2 months. We were done, though, by July 4th. So Combs has been waiting for sentencing since the beginning of July, and he's been waiting in jail. He asked for bail and was denied by the same judge. He asked for bail more than once and was denied. So it doesn't seem likely he'll be getting out anytime soon. However, no one knows. I mean, it's a big guessing game. And I just heard a cheer go up from the crowd behind me. And I'm not quite sure what's happening in court at this very moment. We do have reporters in court. I'm waiting to get an update from them as we speak. But a cheer did go up from the crowd outside court. Now, the line to get into court started forming Wednesday. There were line sitters out here holding spaces for people willing to pay them. There were more line sitters on Thursday when we were here, and then when we got here at 6 a.m., there were people already outside court lined up to get in. That's the only way you're able to see what's happening, because none of the proceedings are broadcast. There are no cameras in court. And I think I'm hearing that there's a 5-minute break in court, and maybe that's why people were cheering. I'm not 100% sure. We did hear that cheer go up from outside court. Now, during the trial, I was here, and there was always a crowd outside court. There were always people cheering for something. So it's still not 100% sure, because the judge has a lot to go through and to get through before he's even sentenced. I want you to take a look at the media. There's a huge lineup of media here in front of the court. And this case has drawn national, if not international, attention, because Sean Diddy Combs is a music mogul. He ran Bad Boy, the music company. He produced people like Biggie, Smalls. He's very well known, and some of his rap actually changed the way the rap industry focused. I mean, one of the things that Combs did was make an 11-minute video that's going to be shown in court, and in that video they talk about how he elevated rap music to be an aspirational way of life. Also in that video that the Combs team made, you see him with his family, you see him with his children, you see him out in the community, you see him at the charter schools he created in Harlem, you see him, going around the country, visiting people, uplifting people. But again, that's just one side, the side that Combs wants the judge to see and to take into account when he's being sentenced. Then there's the other side of Combs, the side we see in the video that was leaked of him beating up Cassie in the L.A. hotel room, in the L.A. hotel hallway. And Cassie reminded the judge in her letter that she doesn't think Combs has changed. She doesn't think he's reformed. She doesn't think he's sorry, and that he deserves the maximum sentence. I'm Julie Walker. You're watching the AP News live stream of the Sean Diddy Combs sentencing. For more, go to our website, apnews.com, or go to our AP News app.
Alright, so they gave us an update. We'll go back to what's going on in court. Like she said, I think they're on a 5-minute break, but we haven't read all of the tweets, so I will go back to where we were. We left off that of course, AUSA was, I guess, giving their statement. Where we saw where AUSA Slavic said Mr. Combs has booked speaking engagements for Miami for next week. That is the height of hubris. He did this for 15 years. He was responsible for transporting many escorts. That's a lot of freak-offs and a lot of hotel nights. He knew it was illegal. Even in cases that declined to apply, the cross-reference significant sentences are hindered down, including the district. Consider, we talked about that, the U.S. versus Dylan Jordan. And then the judge talked about how in Jordan the defendant had been convicted and imprisoned in Cuba in the years prior. Am I correct? And that's why the judge varied upwards. And the prosecutor said that is correct, as well as other factors. There's also the case by Judge Wood, Mann Act case, where fear, violence, and threats routinely get significant sentences. This is not a simple transportation case, but it has major aggravators. As to Cassie, he hit her and stomped on her. The video from the LA hotel was played many times at trial, and it never got easier. As to Jane, he punched her, he slapped her a little over a year ago when he knew he was under federal investigation. At trial, they said they owned the violence. Admitting to violence in front of the jury as part of the trial strategy is not accountability. Freak-offs were extended performances of sexual degradation and humiliation. Cassie and Jane did not want to have sex with strangers. He made them do it. He had an escort urinate in Cassie's mouth until she choked. Her victim impact statement makes clear she still has nightmares and flashbacks in the scars on her body. Jane's texts make clear her anguish and trauma. Mia said she got PTSD and anxiety. Deontay Nash said he was caused lasting damage. Capricorn Clark says her blacklist. Capricorn Clark says he, meaning Diddy, blacklisted her once she spoke up. Chef Jordan Atkins wrote how she was impacted. It was real and serious. Her downplays, he meaning Diddy, coming from ASU Slavic, says Diddy downplays the abuse, calling it rare. but it was never rare, Cassie's testimony was that he was violent with her at any time. It was not mutual. You saw no photos of the defendant with injuries. He blames doctors for prescriptions. He pretends he is a victim. He hasn't accepted responsibility for his criminal conduct. The information provided to his expert was incomplete. He will pose a danger at any age. He choked Jane at 54 years old. Prostitution causes other problems. It happens out of public view. General deterrence is needed. Send a message to all victims and to the public that this defendant's crimes are serious. You can encourage or discourage abusers. And that was from the prosecutor. So that's all we have for right now. No more tweets. Like the reporter said, I think they went on a break, so we might not have any tweets right now. Let's see. So inner city press says it was Combs' lawyer Agnifilio who asked for the break. And he just wanted to reiterate it shouldn't be long. He's not going anywhere. So yeah, the last tweet was prostitution causes other problems. It happens out of public view. General deference is needed. Send a message to all victims and to the public that this defendant's crimes are serious. You can encourage or discourage abusers. So I don't know if that was the prosecution's last statement, and Aquilino, Diddy's attorney, asked for a break before they make their statement, or maybe they're gonna call up Diddy's mom and kids to come now. I don't know. We'll see what's going on. Interesting. All right, turn this down because all of the sirens. They went away now. So what do you guys think? I don't even know if anybody's watching, but maybe on the replay, you guys will come back. This is Melanin News, bringing you the trial live. No, we can't be there, but I can try to give you guys the tweets and if you're outside the courtroom. So if anything happens, we'll know what's going on. Okay, I think they're back now, and now the defense is up. It's going to be Combs' attorney, Driscoll. The Department of Justice has long said that Mann Act prosecution should focus on the commercial cases. Sean Combs did not make a penny from this. The Jordan case? It's not comparable. He served 8 years in Cuba for sex crimes. That was his Judy chance. Jordan made $1.4 million. Do you know how many sex acts that is? He had over 100 clients. Mr. Combs' offense is nothing like that. 3 of Jordan's victims reported unwanted sex. 1 was raped after being drugged. We're waiting, guys. Waiting for the next tweet. Again, some information from the prosecution. Sean Combs has booked speaking engagements in Miami for next week. ASU Slavic just told the judge, calling it the height of hubris. Sentencing thread continues below. Yep. Still waiting. no more tweets after that. Maybe they took a break after the defense Driscoll said those things. The tweets have stopped. Interesting.
Good afternoon and welcome to the AP News live stream of the Sean Diddy Combs sentencing. Behind me in the federal courthouse, Diddy is waiting to find out if he'll go to prison or if he'll be set free. And joining me now is Sarah Krisoff. She's a former federal prosecutor and she's an attorney with Cozen O'Connor. So she knows a lot about what goes on in federal court. Tell us a little bit about these sentencing guidelines. Diddy was found guilty of 2 counts of the Mann Act, which is a prostitution-related charge for flying around his girlfriends and male escorts for the purpose of sex. But he was acquitted of the 2 charges that would have kept him in prison for a long time, if not forever. And he was acquitted on racketeering and on sex trafficking. But what about the Mann Act, the prostitution-related charge? What is the judge looking at when it comes to sentencing?
The first thing the judge had to do here was figure out what the guidelines are. There was a real dispute between the defense and the government about what the applicable guidelines range was. They were vastly different estimates, and the judge sort of parsed through all of that and decided he agreed with probation's determination of the guidelines, which is really right in the middle of 70 to 87 months. But the probation is really an arm of the court, and they have an obligation to independently determine the guidelines as well. But ultimately, the judge is sort of taking everyone's input, coming up with what he thinks is the appropriate guidelines range, and then that's the starting point, I think, for him in imposing sentence at this point.
Now, prosecutors wanted 11 years. Is there any chance that he'll get 11, or do we just not know until the judge makes a determination?
Listen, nobody knows what the judge is going to do until sort of the last moments of this, where the judge asks Mr. Combs to stand up and he imposes sentencing. And frankly, the judge may not even know what he wants to do. He's going to have a really good idea, but he certainly could be swayed one way or the other by the arguments he's hearing, and will continue to hear for the next few hours.
Now, let's talk about those arguments. I mean, this is the chance for Mr. Combs to get up in court and to talk to the judge, to speak to the judge. And we're also told that his family will get a chance to speak, and they're going to show a video. Actually, Combs' team is showing a video, and it's an 11-minute video. I saw it. It shows him in a totally different light. It shows him as a family man, as a community man. Is this something that's usual, or is this unusual to do an entire video?
Listen, the defendant always, by statute, has a right to speak at sentencing, and if the court did not allow him to speak, it would be a big problem. Eventually, the sentencing would have to be redone. So we certainly expect to hear from him at the end of this. Sometime, the defendant usually gets the last word, sort of in the order of things, that goes last. But in this case, we've already heard from the defendant in a few different ways. We have, a letter from him. We have this video. The judge has made it very clear that he is concerned that Combs is not repentant at all, or is not really accepting responsibility for his actions. And that's going to sort of play into what the judge does at the end of the day. So I'm curious to hear, when Combs actually stands up and speaks live, does he take on a little bit more responsibility or not?
That's been an issue that's come up. Some of the letters to the judge from those who testified, like Diddy's ex-girlfriend Cassie, has said that she doesn't believe that he does feel remorseful, and she doesn't believe that he is a changed man. I mean, how much weight will the judge assign to those letters from people who say that he should not be let out and he should spend time in prison?
Yeah, I mean, the judge definitely seems to be concerned about that. He's raised it a few times during the course of the sentencing already. And it's a very hard line for the defense team to walk, because on one hand, they want to preserve their appeal and they don't want to admit to any conduct, and they're trying legally to avoid admitting responsibility. On the other hand, they want to present a defendant who's contrite, who has remorse, to the judge in order to get some empathy from the judge. So it's really hard to balance those two things.
Now, you bring up the idea of an appeal. Is that something, I mean, his lawyers have tried to overturn the verdict. Is that an appeal something that is also going to be happening later on?
Yeah, I am confident they will be bringing in an appeal no matter what happens in connection with the sentencing. It may just be an appeal of the conviction, or it may be an appeal of both the conviction and the sentencing, depending what the judge does during the course of today.
This is the same judge who would not let Combs out on bail. He tried to offer bail, lots of money, and the judge said, no, you're not going anywhere. You're sitting in jail. And he's been at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn for the past roughly 13 months.
Yeah, I mean, one of the problems for Mr. Combs is sentencing after trial, after all of these bail hearings, is that the judge has heard so much information about Combs, even much more information than the jury heard, right? And so the judge has to try to put that all aside and really decide the sentence on a narrower category of information, but it's hard to do that, right? It's hard to unhear what he's already heard.
And some of the things he did here were, I mean, it was quite a sordid trial, and it was, there were things that, you could see. I was in court at times, and the jury was, eyes wide open type of situation there. Were you surprised at all with the verdict?
I mean, I thought the defense had done a very good job of this from the beginning, right? They had a narrative. They said essentially, our client did bad things. He just didn't do these bad things, right? These are essentially state crimes. They don't fit into this federal framework. Jury, your verdict should reflect that. They had a narrative. They started with a narrative. They ended with a narrative. They did a really good job with all of their cross-examinations, their addresses to the jury. So, it wasn't. To me, it wasn't a surprise that the jury ended up with this sort of compromise verdict that they did.
Okay. Any other interesting observations as a former federal prosecutor? Because so you've been in the role of, we know Maureen Comey was the main force behind this, and she's been fired by Trump, so she's not here in court on this case today, but there are other federal prosecutors there. What's it like for a federal prosecutor to be there, to be pleading their case with the judge?
Yeah, listen, they had a big team on this case. They had a remarkable number of prosecutors. I was sort of stunned when I saw how many were filing in connection with the case. So they have a big team to pick up the work that Ms. Comey was doing. This is high pressure for those prosecutors because they had, I think, for from their viewpoint, was very much a loss at the trial. They didn't get what they wanted in connection with the trial, and I think now, they want to win here, so they are putting everything forward to try to get that win.
All right, well, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us. Sarah Kristoff, a former federal prosecutor and an attorney with Cozen O'Connor.
Yep.
Okay. I'm Julie Walker, and we're here at the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan for the Sean Diddy Combs sentencing. As we said earlier, prosecutors want him to spend 11 years behind bars. The defense wants him out. He has a speaking engagement planned for next week in Miami. So we'll see how this all plays out. Stay with apnews.com and AP News on our app for lots more information about the Sean Diddy Combs sentencing. Thank you so much.
All right, guys, so we're back. we'll just start over with the defense. So the defense attorney is Driscoll, who is the one who is speaking to the court. He says, the DOJ had long said that Mann Act prosecutions should focus on the commercial cases. John Combs did not make a penny for this. The Jordan case, it's not comparable. He served 8 years in Cuba for sex crimes. That was his 2-day chance. Jordan made $1.4 million. Do you know how many sex acts that is? He had over 100 clients. Mr. Combs' offense is nothing like that. 3 of Jordan's victims reported unwanted sex. 1 was raped after being drugged. As Combs there is another case, this is still Driscoll, there's another case with 7 victims. No growth and enhancement applied. Defendant got 18 months, was released after 9 months. Then there's 18 CR 20376 from the SDFL. They generated 1.8 million. They got 15 months. In John cases, the average sentence is 6.7 months. In this other case, the defendant texts the victim, I meant what I said about making a mold of your PUSSY. The rest of you ain't worth SHIT. The judge says, but there was no threat of violence. There was no threat of violence in that case. The attorney Driscoll goes on to say, Attorney Driscoll goes on to say, Attorney Slavic, which is the prosecution, just blamed Mr. Combs of having a drug problem for 25 years. We think that that's inappropriate. It is a mitigating factor. Let's talk about 13 CR 294, District of Oregon. The defender paid for a session with a young girl. See DKT 85. The defendant Riggs got 24 months. It was more heinous than this case. 3553 says to avoid unwarranted sentencing disparities. I've read all 900 Mann Act cases available on Pacer. His case is different. Who's next, Miss Westmoreland? Who's next, Miss Westmoreland? Okay, so now this is the Attorney Westmoreland. I want to focus on the inspiration Mr. Combs has given throughout his life and on the commitment he made while in the MDC. Mr. Combs was successful, but he used it to help others. He touched many more lives than I can cover in the next minutes. There were not many black-owned labels. Mr. Combs had the audacity. It sent a message that you can do it. Clothing too. It was not just urban streetwear, it was upscale. It brought unity, it inspired change. That was just 1 minute ago. So we have Miss Westmoreland, our attorney Westmoreland. I'm sorry, I don't know if that's a man or a woman. Speaking on Mr. Combs and his inspirations. Well, I wish I had someone in here to talk to. How these comments are so funny on X. The judge said it. Who's next after the attorney Driscoll was up there? He went on about the all of the cases he knows, and the judge was like, okay, who's next? And then that's when Attorney Westmoreland came up. They say, baby, judge said next. He's so tired of y'all. Who's next? Next. The judge is done and done. Move on. Judge ready to go. Good work, Jason. Judge in a hurry. Judge is like, who's next? Miss Westmoreland? Next. Some people saying that Attorney Driscoll went up there and played. Interesting to see all the comments. They have their own opinion. What do you guys think about this Diddy case? I don't even know if we'll actually get a decision today. Do you think we'll get a decision today? It'll be interesting. I think Diddy thinks he's getting out today. He's made his appointments down in Miami. had one more tweet. So the tweet before that was, there were not many black-owned labels. Mr. Combs had the audacity to send a message that you can do it. Clothing too. It was not just urban streetwear. It was upscale. It brought unity. It inspired change. Again, this is Attorney Westmoreland. In spirits, our community finally had a seat at the table, a voice, a real voice. Then there was a revolt. And Inner City Press put sobs in parentheses. I don't know if someone was crying. Someone says, so we're supposed to just excuse all the stuff he did to the victims because he touched a whole lot of people. Where were all those people during the trial? Did anybody stand up for Diddy and say what a great, wonderful man he is and what he did for them? No, nobody came. Being a role model is also taking accountability and owning up to your mistakes. If you do the crime, you should also do the time. And we have someone else. Every person who took the stand and flipped on Diddy even said they still want to work with him. He changed their lives and still keep in contact with him till this day. Let that sink in. So a lot of different views. What do you guys think? A lot of different views. Interesting. I'll read some more. Inspirational for being a slimy man who has built people his whole life. I think he needs a few years to reflect on himself.
Actually, you know what? Where you going to? The county clerk? Yeah. Instead of going this way, go right down to the driveway. That should be open. I'm pretty sure that's opening. Go right down. 158 or 158? Yeah. You see it right there. Instead of going down there, down the steps, just go right there to the driveway. Make a left. You're good to go. Thank you so much. That was about to happen. That was about to happen.
Okay, some additional. The last one we read from Attorney Westmoreland, there were not many black-owned labels. Mr. Combs had the audacity. I sent a message. It sent a message. You can do it. Clothing too. It was not just urban streetwear. It was upscale. It brought unity. It inspired change in spirits. Our community finally had a seat at the table, a voice, a real voice. Then there was revolt. He's just trying to help. He opened 3 charter schools in the neighborhood where the schools were not good. The motto was Black excellence. The youth are our future. Mr. Combs personally inspired me. I went to an event in DC. Mr. Combs was there. He said, "Listen, everyone, I'm sorry." He said, "Don't be afraid. Dream. Just remember to wake up and put actions behind your dreams." And then he said, "Don't forget to help others." That changed my life. So I guess Miss Westmoreland is crying while she doing this. Mr. Combs is just a man, and he's made some mistakes. He has flaws like we all do. But how many of us can say that we've helped so many lives, countless lives? He's been in jail and he's remorseful. I spend every day speaking with him. So I think I did miss a tweet in the beginning where it said they were back from their break and it's Combs' lawyers' time. Attorney Driscoll, I'm grateful, Your Honor, to you being so permissive with the microphone for us today. I'm going to talk about sentencing disparities. A blind reliance on the guidelines can create disparities. And then that's when Driscoll started talking about the Jordan case and how he's read over all, what was it? Did he say 900? Yeah, he says, "I've read all 900 Manette cases available on Pacer." And Mr. Combs' case is different. And then once he said that, that's when the judge said, "Who's next? Miss Westmoreland?" Then that's when Attorney Westmoreland came, and she's doing her thing right now. And she says that she spends every day speaking with Mr. Combs. And I think she's crying because Inner City Press keeps putting sobs, S-O-B, in parentheses throughout her statement. Interesting. Well, guys, I've been on here long enough. Doesn't seem like I'm going to get any views, so but I will definitely keep trying. You guys have a great day, and I'll be back and just provide a synopsis of everything that happened. I'm thinking that's what my viewers really want. You like my shorts, just trying to get some watch hours up. It doesn't seem like anybody wants to watch my stream, so we will try something else. You guys have a great day. Bye.
Yes.